Hello, my friends, and welcome to Genealogy Gems podcast episode number 302. I'm Lisa Louise Cooke. And in this episode, as we come to the end of the year, there's actually several new things to talk about. And so we're going to cover a couple of different topics. First up, we'll be talking about a new website that offers a solution to sharing your family tree. It's called Treecrossing, and you can find it at treecrossing.com. And recently I had an opportunity to speak to the creators of Treecrossing. And I think what's so fascinating about this is there's actually been kind of an unsolved problem hanging out there for a long time. And that is, how do you share your family tree with your family members who are not genealogists in a way that is meaningful to them, that they would actually be interested in looking at? While we have our family tree potentially on one of the big genealogy websites, maybe it's part of the global tree at FamilySearch, or it's at Ancestry.com, or whether we have it in addition to those on a software program on our own computer, which I highly recommend that you do, whether that's Roots Magic or Legacy or Family Tree Maker or any of the other programs that are out there. None of those are really ideal for non-genealogists. And there are challenges with how to share the trees, how to retain the privacy of the trees, particularly for living people, and kind of keep control of them. Certainly, it's near to impossible to share your database if it's on your computer, because your family members are not going to have that program. And in all of the cases, these online and software programs are all really geared to genealogists. So there's a lot of information, a lot of data there that is just noise to our family members who are not genealogists. And the other issue at hand is sometimes we are sharing with somebody in our family who has other family, maybe a tree coming from somebody else, and they want to see the whole picture. There's never really been one place where you could bring in multiple trees from different sources, or even the same source. Like in my case, I have 2 different tree files, one from my husband, one from me. But my kids want to see both. And so when we want to bring trees together, how do we do that? And all of these challenges are among those that Treecrossing is apparently solving. So we'll be talking to the creators of Treecrossing to learn more about that. And then you'll also be able to go over to either our website or our YouTube channel, Genealogy Gems YouTube channel, and watch the video. So we've published the video version of these interviews in 2 parts. You're going to hear kind of part 1, which is the overview, which really helps you get your kind of wrap your head around what they're providing for us here as a tool. And then the second video is a demonstration, which doesn't lend itself too well to an audio podcast. So in that case, if you want to see it in action, you want to see navigating the tree, what the experience is going to look like for the end user, for your family members, I highly recommend that you go watch the demo video that we've put together for you. It doesn't take very long, and it's a great way to see it in action. So I will have links to both of those videos and the corresponding show notes over at our website in the show notes for this podcast episode. Also in this episode, we'll be talking about oldnews.com. This is probably the newest newspaper online collection out there these days. It is owned and operated by MyHeritage, and it is part of the MyHeritage Omni subscription. I recently got access to the Omni subscription, which gave me also access to old news, and I was pretty blown away. So I want to share with you my experience with that and give you a sense. If you haven't checked this out, this may be, it could be a game changer for you. It kind of was for my research. So I'll look forward to telling you about that. And we'll be covering quickly a couple of other newsy items that I think will be of interest to you, some tech tools that I think you'll be interested to see how they're going to impact your genealogy research. So with that, let's get started solving some problems with Treecrossing. It's not every day that a new genealogy tool comes online, but there is one today, and I'm excited to talk with the creators of Treecrossing. And here joining me on the show are David Pugmire and Bob Myers. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hey, it's wonderful to see new technology coming our way as genealogists. And I've been taking a look at treecrossing.com. I'm excited to talk to you about kind of what this does, what it's going to solve for us as genealogists, and how it works. You know, as somebody who keeps my master family tree on a software program on my computer, I happen to use Roots Magic. There's lots of different ones. But I'm a real advocate that the final say on my family tree resides on my computer, and that is backed up to the cloud. It is not sitting on somebody else's website for them to have control over. I might have other trees, working trees, theory trees on Ancestry or FamilySearch or other places, but my master family tree is on Roots Magic on my computer. And that, for me, has presented a bit of a challenge when it comes to wanting to share it with my family. So I am looking at Treecrossing thinking, I see a lot of potential here, and I am really interested to know what the pain points are for the genealogist that you feel like you are solving with Treecrossing, and is it going to help somebody like me with the way I do my tree?
That's a great question. You know, if you think about it, you're describing how you're doing your work in Roots Magic, right? You're building out your tree. Have you ever tried to share that with the family? What are you going to do? You're going to hand them your Roots Magic file? Probably not. So that's the first thing we're trying to solve, is make it really easy for you to be able to share it and not have to go through a whole bunch of process or learning lots of new software. So yeah, we want to keep you working right where you are. If you love Roots Magic or you love Family Tree Maker or whatever it is that you have, we want you to be able to keep using that.
Right. And I think when we do share, I wouldn't even dare share my Roots Magic file with any of my family. I think they would all run screaming for the hills. But if I was trying to share an online tree that I have at Ancestry or whatever, which is kind of messy because that's where I do some theory working, even then, the experience isn't very kind of user-friendly and family-friendly or non-genealogist friendly. So would that be one of the pain points that we're solving here? Is that are you creating an experience that would be really enjoyable for somebody who doesn't do genealogy and has no plans on doing genealogy?
That's exactly it. In fact, we did not pay you to put that plug in, but that's exactly what we're trying to solve.
Awesome.
You could say, well, I've got my tree online, right? There are several other online services. You could put your tree up there, and like you mentioned, Ancestry. Is it the right experience? You know, a lot of these services are geared towards a genealogist. They're still geared towards editing and building trees, but let's be honest, the rest of the family, they're just not genealogists. And so they need a different experience. They need an experience that's really built for them, that's engaging for them, and it's not overwhelming them with, edit this and mess with that and break your tree, right? So that's one of the key things that we are trying to do is provide a new way to really help the family get engaged. And as our website actually says, we call it irresistible. Make your family tree irresistible. It's not very fun if you get into a clunky software. You really want something that's a good experience for them.
I like that. That's a great word. That resonates for me. Bob, so I would imagine that means that you've put together a platform, a place for these people to come and to experience the tree that we want to share with them. And I know technology and coding and all that is so much of your background. Explain to our viewers what exactly we're talking about. It is just a website, correct?
Yeah, it's a website, and the way you upload your tree that David was talking about doesn't use the website. We try to make that actually easier for you. We have a little app that we call it our sync app, and it will just read directly from your genealogy program's data file on your computer, and it'll upload the data you want to upload. It'll let you choose some of the privacy issues, like what living people do you want to include. It'll go find all your photos and get those all uploaded for you as well. So that's just the process of getting it up online. But then for your family, when you want to share that with them, you're inviting them to come and poke around on that website. And when you go up to that website, you find your tree is displayed for them in a very visual and engaging and easy to understand way that lets them explore around and start learning, not get lost, keep track of where they are, um, and just browse it and explore and just poke around and learn in a way that's just designed for them. We're not trying to upsell them to get an ancestry record subscription. We're not trying to, bury them in primary source, research notes. We're just trying to help them learn about their family. And so that's the priority that we focus on at Treecrossing.
As I looked at it and worked with it, I got the sense that really the way to kind of position this in our minds as a genealogist is that it's much in the category of the family history compiled book or a printed out family chart or the end product that I always tell my listeners, think about who your customer is, if you will. Our customer is our family member, right?
Yeah, yeah. We have a lot of fun ideas that we are hoping to add to that we think will add a lot more to that in the future. But we think it's a pretty fun experience already for people that have tried it already and are like, wow, this is really easy to just get around. And I didn't know that about my family. And oh, that's cool. That's exactly the reaction and the response that we're hoping for.
Wonderful. Well, David, I want to have you talk us through a little bit as far as what some of these features are that are going to be irresistible to our family members. But before we talk about that, I know I can hear the people listening and watching, and their question is, but I do have an online tree on Ancestry where I do some work, or I even sync my tree from Family Tree Maker or from Roots Magic up to or maybe I have it at FamilySearch. And even if I don't currently have a paid subscription, we can still look at our tree. We could at least still see the photographs we attach to it. Why would we do this sharing at Treecrossing instead of just saying, well, you can go look at the free version of my ancestry tree?
I can say that part of it is just getting into the tree. And, I don't know how these other systems work. Maybe that you have to have your family all create user accounts and log in. One of the best answers to this is something that's hard to describe. And that is, you have to think about other family members that have family that's not in your tree. So, for example, the other side of the family, as soon as you go to a child, they might be married and then they have a whole nother half of their family or a grandchild. And so if you provide a tree for them on one family line, they've got that one family line, but that's not their whole family. And so part of the challenge for all of us really is that you need to see your whole family or it's not very fun, right? My kids aren't going to be interested unless they can see everybody.
And see themselves, usually.
And they need to see themselves.
Yeah.
And so we cover all of that. And I would say, you mentioned Ancestry, but I'll mention FamilySearch just a little bit. You could say, well, your whole family is in FamilySearch, but is that really true? Yes, it's a global tree, but no, it doesn't have all the world's data. You might have, again, family members who half of their family is in FamilySearch, but the other half really might not be. And then what do you do? And so we provide a way to show your entire family as if it's one big tree, but without merging.
Coming from multiple trees?
From multiple trees.
Yeah.
And that's the crossing in Treecrossing. Crossing is actually talking about how they're connect together, where a relationship might cross. So we actually find those relationships. We can bring the trees together and present it to you from your own point of view.
Your family members too, because they all have, we present it as a single experience that's custom for that person. So like I would like to see both of my parents' trees. They're both genealogists, and I'd like to see both of them. So that's cool. But then I go show it to my kids, and they're like, well, that's great. Where's the other side of the family? Where's my mom's family? Okay, we got to go find those trees. And one of them's in FamilySearch, and another one's in a Roots Magic file somewhere with somebody else. And so I got to get both of those uploaded. But then once they have that, all of a sudden they've got 4 different trees, and now they've got their whole family, and they can browse around the whole thing and it's all there. But that's unique to them. You go talk to their first cousins and they need some of those and then some other tree somewhere else, and so everybody's got different pieces that are important to them. And so it kind of has to be a custom experience for each person almost.
That is fascinating because I did not pick up on that at first when I looked at the website. And it perfectly describes my own personal issue because, guys, I started doing genealogy when I was 8 years old. And I did it on paper. And then I remember when the first software programs came out, I think I used Generations, and I built separate trees, one from my family, one from my husband's. I don't know why, but I was thinking that somehow those would be two different trees, right? Because I'm not related to all of them, but my kids are. And so to this day, I still have two separate Roots Magic files. One is Lisa's tree, one is Bill's tree. And of course, my kids want to see both. You're telling me this is going to solve the problem, aren't you?
And it solves that problem and more, right? Because it's going to go beyond your kids. This is a scenario that you have control over. At least you could put those trees together for them. But as soon as they are married or they have children of their own, you're not going to manage like everything in the world.
If you start sharing your research with your cousins and their kids, right? You don't have to go far before people are like, well, that's nice. What about the other half of my family or the other 3/4 of my family, right? It just happens almost immediately with everybody you share your research with. Is almost anybody that's not you is going to want another side of their family to add to it.
Interesting. Do they have to subscribe? Is there a free version? How do they quickly get started?
There is a free version, and all you have to do is go to the website, so treecrossing.com. And we make it pretty obvious how to get started. You can kind of go glance through the information there, but you basically just click the button and follow. Yes, you create an account. It's free to do that. There are some paid plans as well, and that just adds more capability. So you could take a look at the pricing page for that. But that lets you get your tree up and running and check it out right away. It's not a trial. It's free forever. And so I hope that describes it. There are some steps, like Bob was mentioning, where to get your tree up there, you install an app, but we'll walk you through that. So once you sign up, you can download our little utility, and it will help you get your tree uploaded.
Yeah, friends, those of you watching, you're going to be excited because you do not have to export your GEDCOM and then upload it. He's
right.
not kidding. There's a quick little app that helps you do it all. So slick. Everybody can participate in this because it is free. And of course, there's really no reason not to give it a try because there is that basic free version that you can. And then, as David mentioned, there are other plans where you can pay for a subscription model and get more features. So depending on what your needs are, that's all explained there on the website. And the website we've been talking about is treecrossing.com. David Pugmire and Bob Myers, thank you so much for coming by and sharing this really cool new tool with us. I'm excited to use it.
Thank you.
The air is getting crisp, and for many of us, that means a little extra time to dive into our family history. As genealogists, we spend years building our family trees. But what if you could do more than just connect the dots? What if you could bring those names on your tree to life? This is where newspapers.com comes in. Imagine reading your great-grandparents' wedding announcement, finding an article about your ancestors' business, or even seeing a photo of the house where your grandma grew up. Newspapers.com is an incredible resource for anyone passionate about genealogy, with more than 29,000 historical newspapers. You can search for your family's names, their hometowns, or important dates, and discover the small personal details that transform a name on a page into a real person with a real story. And with the holidays approaching, a newspapers.com gift subscription is the perfect present for the family historian in your life. It's a gift of discovery, of connection, and of countless untold stories waiting to be found. Just head over to newspapers.com/genealogy gems to learn more and purchase a subscription for someone special. That's newspapers.com/genealogy gems. Your favorite genealogist will thank you. Well, as I mentioned to you at the top of the show, I recently received the Omni subscription from MyHeritage. The folks at MyHeritage said, you got to check this out. We want you to try this. So thank you very much to them for giving me access and allowing me to kind of see how it takes your research beyond just their complete plan. There are several different subscription options over at MyHeritage. And it can be sometimes a little overwhelming, but I think that it's worth taking a look at this because it does offer some really great resources. And specifically, I want to talk about old news. So this is their newspaper collection. And you can also subscribe to this separately. So if you're not currently a MyHeritage subscriber, or you just have a basic plan, but you really would like to have old news, you can get that separately. You can go directly to oldnews.com. At the time of this recording, the standalone version, if you were just to subscribe to oldnews.com alone, is probably around $99. And you can do some snooping around because I believe they oftentimes will offer a 25% discount on the first year. Don't quote me on that, but go check it out on whatever the current pricing is. But we have seen that in the past. And they also have potentially a 7-day free trial. Now, of course, I don't see that on my home screen because I'm already logged into it. But definitely look for that if you decide that you want to go check this out. I believe that you can just Google it for oldnews.com free trial. Now, this website has come a long way since it was published. They've certainly added a lot more historic digitized newspaper pages. So they say here, currently you can search 407,792,000 pages from the 41,524 historical newspaper titles. So that's a lot of titles. What's really struck me about this collection is when I first started getting hints in MyHeritage once I got the Omni plan, I was seeing hints for newspaper articles from German newspapers. This was a whole new area for me. If you've listened to my show for a while, you probably know that on my mother's side, I have great-grandparents who came to America from Germany in 1910. And so that, wasn't that long ago. And certainly I'd be very interested in 20th century or 19th century German newspapers, particularly because in my case, I have some fairly unique surnames, Sparowski and Nikolowski. And so I don't see those very often. So if they pop up in a newspaper article, I want to check it out. That's for sure. Certainly, even if you had a more common name, there are lots of different ways to search. We'll talk about that. But here popping up were these newspaper articles that I have never seen anywhere else. And I think this really speaks to the global nature of MyHeritage. I would say one of their greatest strengths is the fact that they have users from around the world and their record collections are very much internationally focused. So while you'll find a lot of stuff for the United States, if that's where you happen to be, you're going to find a lot of great records all around the world. So I'll give you another example. Now, this one is not my German line, but it comes from some Canadian newspapers. Again, they have a great Canadian collection. And within minutes, I found I have here 39 articles in Saskatchewan, Canada newspapers on Raymond Cooke. And he's one of my husband's ancestors. I just went and browsed. First went to the browsing section and clicked on Canada, then Saskatchewan, and I just simply searched for Raymond Cooke. And I was blown away. And one of the reasons there's so many articles on him is because he was an orchestra conductor. He led the orchestra for the silent films, and he played at events and that type of thing. So he was just being shown. In fact, one of the articles had a photograph of him. I was just thrilled to death. But I think probably one of the best items that I found was extremely unique. Raymond Cooke immigrated in 1912 from England, along with his father and his stepmother, and they came to Canada. So I knew that his father, Harry Cooke, was in Canada as well. He's been a little bit more challenging to find because he wasn't as prominent, or at least I didn't think he was, as Raymond was. But the records that I have found to date have been either just for Raymond, because he was about 16 when they came over, and he pretty much kind of took off on his own and made his own life once he got to Canada. And then I found articles and references to Harry Cooke, again, just by himself. But for the first time over at oldnews.com, I ended up getting this article, and it is the first record that I have, and probably the only record that I have, that puts 3 generations of Cookes, newly immigrated to Canada and the United States, together in one place. And that was incredibly exciting for me. And it was a funny little article, kind of in the newsy social section of the newspaper, that talked about visitors to the legislature. And some of the visitors were Harry Cooke, along with Raymond H. Cooke, and 2 of Raymond's kids, Anita and Donovan. And it said that they're from Chippewa Falls. So by this time, Raymond had already married. He'd already moved from Canada to the United States and had his first 2 children. But the beautiful thing is that this article also says that Harry Cooke was from the North Annex of Regina. That was a wonderful confirmation of the Harry Cooke that I was pretty sure was him, but you never know. That's a much more common name. And so being able to have that reconfirmed in this article as to exactly where they were living at the time that they visited the legislature, it was just terrific. But if I dare brag a little bit more on some of the stuff that I found, what I knew about Harry was that after living in Canada from 1912, that he returned to England. And my understanding from the passenger list that I found was that was in 1931. My guess is that they moved back to England because he was married to a much younger second wife, and he was getting along in years. And so they got back, lived there, and then he passed away in 1939. So that way she was back with her family. Well, my friends, this article is more than I feel like I'm allowed to hope for. I really wanted something else that kind of confirmed this migration back to Canada in 1931, in addition to the passenger list. I mean, the list is great, but, what's the story, right? What's the story behind it? And I got to tell you, I come across this article. It's October 31st of 1931, so this is like a week before the passenger list record. And it's in the Leader Post in Saskatchewan, and it says, the article's called Presentations Made Mr. and Mrs. H. Cooke. And get this, I'll read just a little part of it to you. A farewell party was held in the Sons of England Hall, North Annex, Thursday last, for Mr. and Mrs. Harry Cooke, who are leaving in the near future for England. Mr. Cooke, who has been with the provincial government for the last 13 years, is to be superannuated. I don't think I said that right. Superannuated, October 31st. Okay, help Google, what does superannuated mean? I'd never seen that word before. Interesting. It means retired. So he was retiring. And I had no idea. Now, it says he was with the provincial government. Now, this opens a whole new ballgame. Are there any records that tell me what he did? And maybe I can use some terminology around that to further explore the newspapers to find some mention of him. He could have been the janitor, or he could have been a senator. I don't know, but he was somehow involved in the government, which answers another question. What was he doing for a living? Because in England, he had been a blacksmith first, and then he became a coach builder, and he eventually worked on the first automobiles that came to England. So I wondered, I thought maybe he'd be doing that occupation when he got to Canada. Well, if maybe the provincial government had a fleet of cars or something. I don't know. I am really excited to find out. It also talked about the parishioners of his church, in which church he attended, St. John Church. It also talked about other clubs that he was a member of, as well as his wife. And I just have to read this because it's adorable. So they played a game of carpet ball. Had to look that up because I know you guys in the UK know probably exactly what that is, but I've never seen it before. So that was a game that actually had been invented not that long before this. It was a fairly new kind of popular sport. So they could play carpet ball. I think it's like bowling on like a table track kind of a thing. It lists all these guests. Oh, so the fan club just expanded, right? I mean, all the names of these people. And as I can look into them, that might actually lead me to other places where I'll be able to find Harry as well. But they gave him gifts and his wife. So it says here, Mrs. W.A. Stat, president of the W.A., presented Mrs. Cooke with a silver rose bowl. William Spooner, president of Lodge Royal Ensign, then presented Mr. Cooke with a tobacco jar full of his favorite weed and a pipe. and no, I don't think it's the same kind of weed people talk about today. This article is fantastic. It is several paragraphs long, and it just drives home how newspapers have something to offer that just don't come with any other kind of genealogical record. Maybe you could rival it in probate records, which can go on and on. But this is just wonderful. It's just, kind of a bird's eye view and being able to picture this event, all of the people, and best of all, so many clues to start chasing down to get really into the story. I've had the outline of his life, and maybe you have ancestors like that in your tree. You've got this line drawing, if you will, of their life. But what's in between the dashes, right? What's the story? And that's the excitement around newspapers. Got the first hint, and then I got into newspapers.com and started digging in. It was like the old days when I would just be obsessed and up till 3 o'clock in the morning, can't get away from my computer because things are just pouring in. And nowadays, when you've been doing this for decades, that doesn't always happen, that you get just a boatload of new information, exciting stories. That kind of thrill has been gone a little bit, if you will. I'll just be honest, sometimes you tap things out. You tap out lines for a while, it feels like. So to get a collection that makes this kind of difference is really exciting all over again. Now, in the show notes for this episode, I'm going to have for you a couple of important links. One of them is going to be about the current pricing and comparing the different subscriptions at MyHeritage. So you can see, do you want to upgrade your subscription maybe to get the Omni to be able to access old news, or do you want to just go directly to old news? In whatever way you want to do it. If you want to, I will have that link there for you so you can do that comparison. And then also, MyHeritage has its own wiki. And there is a page devoted to how to search effectively over at Old News. So I'll put a link to that page specifically in the show notes for you. Now, as I mentioned, there's a couple of different ways to search. So one, you can start at the top and enter a name, event, or keyword. You can put in a publication year, and you can define the publication place. So that's a simple way to go. And once you've put in the initial items and clicked search, then look up at the top of the page, because even before you start looking at all the results, I would do a little bit more refining. If you click in the box, and I wish it was a little more obvious, but it is what it is. Click in the box for the name. Now you have a little drop down that says you can check the box for match the phrase exactly. That's going to help tremendously. If I put in Harry Cooke, I don't want everybody with the name Cook and then everybody with the first name Harry. So we're going to get that narrowed down as a phrase. So you can check that box. If you click in the publication year box, you don't get the same kind of thing. However, right below the boxes, the search boxes, you'll see a line called filter by, and you can click the publication date. Now you can really zero in. You can go as specific as a day, month, and year that you want to apply to your search. And if you click in the publication place search box, then you can also check the box place must match. If you don't, what you'll get is prioritize at the top of your search results, matching places, and then it will back off from there and give you other locations. Also on the filter by, you can click publication name. So if you've already figured out what the name of the paper is, you just want to know, hey, does Old News have this and what dates? You could type in publication name. After you get your search results, it's going to show you how many, but over on the right-hand side, you can click the sort by. So you can do it by relevance, let it do the prioritizing to how closely it matches what you've asked for. Or you can also do it by the oldest item or the newest item first, whichever direction that you want to go. Now, another really interesting way, particularly if you're going to maybe start off just checking this out with a free trial or do it for, a short period of time and see if they've got what you need. In fact, you can do the browse by location and nail down whether they have what you need before you start spending money. And that's true with many, many subscription websites. So I'm going to click the browse by location, and now you'll find them grouped. Starts with the United States. They've got a lot of papers out of France, Australia, Germany, Canada, Spain, the Netherlands, Austria, Sweden. I'm excited to check in the Sweden papers. But those are not all of them. At the bottom of that page, you'll find a very comprehensive list, and you can just click the name of the country and dig in further from there. And they really are all over the world. Once you get to the country page, then you're back to those same search parameters, but now you're searching just within this particular location collection. The other thing I wanted to bring to your attention about this, if you're like me and you have newspapers that are in another country, in another language, and that's a big challenge, and it can kind of feel like, what good is it going to do for me if they're not translating this for me? Well, they are not currently. If you get into a newspaper that's in a foreign language, you can still absolutely take advantage of it. First of all, think in terms of the language itself. If you're just looking for a name, no problem. You can do that. You can do location. But if there's an event, if there are any other kinds of keywords that you need, just pull up another browser tab, go to Google Translate, and type in the words, the keywords that you're going to want to use, and get them translated to this language. So I might do that for German, copy the German translated words, and put those in my keyword search and run my search. That gets you a lot of results. You click through, you find a result that looks interesting. Maybe something's jumping out at you. They do a nice job of highlighting the terms that you've searched for so you can see where they are. And what they offer you is a full OCR text on the right side of the screen where you're viewing the digital image. Here's the challenge. That's all still in this case, the German language. And I don't read German, so what are we going to do? Wait, here's kind of a fun option. You can just copy the text, and you don't have to do the entire part. Just copy the section around the highlighted terms that you searched on, because they'll highlight what your results were in the text. Copy that, go back over into that other browser tab, paste it into Google Translate, and let Google Translate do that. But I think there's an easier way. What I like to do is because I've already got the image on the page in front of me, the Chrome web browser now has Google Lens in it. And you'll know the Lens icon. It's typically up in the top of your browser bar, probably on the right-hand corner, somewhere near your account. And you have a little image where your account is. You'll see an icon probably very close to the printer icon. It looks like a little camera, sort of. It's got dashes around the outside and a little circle in the middle. If you hover your mouse over it, it's going to say search with Google Lens. So click that. Now your cursor, as you drag it onto the screen, is a little crosshair. You can drag and crop this just on the section that you want to translate. That's on the digital image. You didn't need to download this image. It's just sitting here on your screen, and you are going to, in a sense, kind of clip the section that's of interest to you, let go with your mouse, and you'll see instantly on the right side of your Chrome browser tab, you're going to be seeing an AI overview. Don't miss this, because I know sometimes it's annoying that AI thinks it knows everything, and it might give you information that might not be perfectly accurate. However, it does a really good job of understanding what's being said on the page, because it's already translated it for you. In fact, you'll find the translation directly below the AI overview. But if this is an article and you're like, what is this article about? AI is going to give you kind of an overview of what this article is about, what are the main points, who is it focused on. Isn't that kind of nice? It's going to interpret this for you because sometimes not every word gets translated ideally, but AI is going to do a pretty darn good job, I think, of being able to give you the gist of what this text is about, whether it is a newspaper article, or in some cases, I've seen even links in my results that take me off-site onto other foreign language websites where they're actually digitized books. So it's not even just strictly newspapers. So I just love being able to quickly get kind of a bird's eye view of what this is about. And if the context sounds right, wonderful, I'm going to scroll down a little bit and I'm going to see the entire translation. The other thing that you can do besides this pane on the right-hand side of your screen, which gives you the overview and the translation, is when you did the clip, you got a little pop-up box right below it, and you can copy the text, copy the image, which is a wonderful way to clip an image really fast, particularly if it's just a portion of a much larger page. Although you can download and save and everything from old news, not that you can't, but Google Lens offers you that option. But most importantly in that little pop-up is translate. If you click translate, you're going to see the text over on the right-hand side in that original language, fully typed out. And if you scroll down, then you see, to the best of their ability, the translation in English. This is so handy. I did the little pop-up and then click translate for a long time, but I'm finding more and more that it seems to be instantly giving me not just the translation, but the overview at the same time, simply as soon as I release my mouse. I kind of prefer that because really I'd like to be able to see both. So just know that the little pop-up menu will show up underneath your clipping and give you those options. But I think that the instant overview and the translation that you get on the right side of the page is just fabulous. So it's right there for you. You don't have to leave the page. You don't have to go, copy and paste and jump over into other tabs. If you're using Chrome, you have Google Lens right up there at the top of your browser. And with one click, you can do all of this right here from the newspaper page in that foreign language. If you don't see that Google Lens icon, don't worry. There's a possibility perhaps your Chrome browser isn't completely up to date. So if you click the three dots in the upper right corner, then go down to Settings, and over in the left, all the way at the bottom, click About Chrome. It's going to automatically update Chrome if it needs to be updated. So that should take care of it and get Google Lens there on Chrome browser for you. So this, for me, is opening up a whole new world of genealogy research, and I sure hope it does for you. If you try oldnews.com out, I'd love to hear what you think, and most importantly, what you found and how you found it. Go to the show notes page for this episode. This is episode 302, and you can leave a comment on our website. Let us know how you're using it, what you're finding, what some new ideas come to us as we use new tools, and then we can all benefit. So have fun getting the scoop on your ancestors in old newspapers. Today's episode is sponsored by MyHeritage, a global discovery platform enjoyed by 110 million people worldwide. MyHeritage has it all and offers a full-service experience that bridges your past, present, and future. MyHeritage has developed powerful genealogy tools to enrich your family tree and take your research to the next level. Receive automatic matches to family trees of fellow MyHeritage users and historical records, which provide new details that you can add to your tree. Explore 12 billion historical records to uncover fascinating new insights about your ancestors. Add new information to your family tree in one click. Check your tree for inaccuracies, colorize your black and white photos, and connect with relatives around the globe. MyHeritage makes it all possible and puts the discoveries at your fingertips. I've been colorizing some of my own personal family photos, and not only are they beautiful, but in many of the photos, it's actually been revealing more details so I can see more of my family history. Growing your family tree is easier than ever before with MyHeritage. The discoveries are out there and waiting to be made. Visit myheritage.com and try it today. That's myheritage.com. Now, before I let you go, I mentioned that there's a couple of other new techie things that have come out recently that I just wanted to make you aware of. One of them is also about the Chrome browser. Gemini is now available in the newest version of Chrome. So if you haven't dabbled into AI, or maybe you've been using Gemini, or maybe you've watched some of our videos on using Gemini, which I've done a couple of those, Gemini is their AI chatbot, and it's right there in Chrome. So when you update your Chrome browser, you're probably going to get some information about this, and you can easily open it. You can do Alt-G on your keyboard, and that should immediately bring it up and make it usable. On a Mac, it's Control-G. You can even choose your own shortcut if you want to. They say that you can talk naturally with Gemini to brainstorm ideas, discuss complex topics, and more. And then you can even go live with Gemini. I did this one time. It was really interesting. I have a synthesizer keyboard, which is like, you got to be an engineer to use this thing. I can play it, but oh my gosh, there's so many knobs and buttons and things that it does. And when I looked at the instruction manual, it was like all in engineering speak, which is of no use to me. So I did a Gemini Live. I did it on my phone. I was able to have a conversation back and forth with Gemini and show Gemini what the keyboard, the top of the synthesizer looks like. And I had specific questions about how to edit the different sounds. And it was really an interesting experience. It's like having a little tech helper right there with you. I personally go back in my settings and I turn off the access to the microphone and turn off the access to the camera. They don't need to have that 24/7. But during the live, I did have to activate my microphone in order to do that. So if you ever need tech help, that's an option for you. But anyway, just want to make you aware, because we have talked about Gemini here on the show, how to use that specifically potentially as a tool in your genealogy research to assist you, not to do it for you, but to assist you. And so that is now just getting fully integrated into Chrome. And the other item I wanted to mention to you is that FamilySearch recently announced last month that search is changing on the Family Tree mobile app. And they talked about this on their blog recently. In the old search experience, depending on what you were searching for, whether it was family tree profiles or historical records or memories, the search experience was different between those. But now the new search offers a unified experience. And they say it allows you to search for family tree profiles, historical records, and memories all at the same time. The new experience also offers simple but powerful filtering, so you can find exactly what you're looking for. It also takes place completely within the mobile app, and they say it's even faster. Oh, one more thing here. It says here, the new experience displays numbers on search results as you scroll. All right, so if you use the FamilySearch mobile app, sounds like there's lots of new bells and whistles for you. I'm going to have a link for you in our show notes to take you over to the blog post so that you can see all the details. And they have some nice screenshots and things that'll walk you through it if you need help with that. Well, it's been a busy month and year in genealogy, certainly here at Genealogy Gems. I am very excited to announce something special here today. I have been in development working on my first online course here at Genealogy Gems. Now, you may know that I have taught over at Family Tree University a couple of courses, and that's always fun. But I think we need a little bit of a new, fresh look at learning. And I have experienced some of that in some other, I told you I play the keyboard. So I've been taking some online piano and keyboard type courses. And I've been really amazed at how they have helped me learn in ways that I have never learned before. And I've been playing since I was 7. So I technically started the keyboard before I ever started genealogy when I was 8. But I've really learned a lot. So not only was I learning wonderful new styles, I've learned the boogie woogie. And I learned cocktail jazz piano. But I really learned something more about what's possible in terms of how to speed up the learning process, make it much easier, much more accessible, and I think more fun. So I have designed my first course to provide over at Genealogy Gems, just between me and you, to help you learn. And the first one we are going to tackle is creating your own research plan. I know a genealogy research plan is always highly recommended, but it can seem a little daunting. And how do you do it? And how do you know if you're doing it right? And you probably don't feel like you have enough time. Well, we're going to solve all of that. I promise you. I don't want to let too much out of the bag at this point, but I'm going to tell you my goal is to launch in January of 2026. And this course will be available. You can purchase it standalone. But if you are a premium member, it will be part of your premium membership. And I am really excited about adding this new value to our membership. We just have such a wonderful time there. And I do think there's a place for the long form video classes that you get when you are a premium member. Certainly, we provide the downloadable handouts for all the member content, whether it's free or premium. There's typically always a downloadable handout for you. So, we want to make sure that you can read it, that you can search the information, that you can watch it, that you can listen to it. But we're actually now going to make it even easier to digest and fit it into your schedule. So that's what I want to tell you. I hope you're as excited as I am. I actually learned a tremendous amount. I've been doing research plans, but going through this process and really looking at it and really structuring it for your learning helped me learn more about ways to refine it that I'm excited about, and I can't wait to share it with you. So be sure that you're on our Genealogy Gems email newsletter, because I think that having a really effective research plan will take your genealogy research from chaotic to purposeful, really purposeful and targeted. And that means results. So that's what we want. So get on our email newsletter list. And you can do that over at genealogygems.com. There's a red button on the home screen, or I'll have a link in the show notes. It's always wonderful talking with you. And I look forward to hearing your ideas and thoughts on this episode. Again, you can do that in the comments section. And I just want to thank you for another terrific year. We started this podcast back in 2007. And that means we're getting to be 19 years old. We're a teenager. We're almost an adult. It's just as fascinating and rewarding and fun as it's ever been. I'm blessed and I am appreciative that you trust me and that you're my friend, that you come here and you visit with me and I get to visit with you and we get to share our passion for genealogy. 2026, I think, is going to be a wonderful year. We've got a lot of really cool things coming up and I can't wait to share them with you. So with that, have a blessed and Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Have a wonderful New Year. Thank you so much for listening, my friend. I'll talk to you soon.